Well, so what are the big key differences between the Brezza and the upcoming Fronx? The Fronx is going to be out in the market very soon. Now, if you look at this car from the front end, you'll realize that this car has a very square dimensions about itself. The looks, the cuts and creases are very square and boxy, and that's really been a trait of even the last generation of the Brezza. It had a very square and boxy look, and that's why people like it, because that square and boxy look means that it looks like a proper SUV. It's a compact SUV, but it looks like a proper SUV. On the other hand, the Fronx, the face of the Fronx will remind you of a Grand Vitara. It looks like a miniature version of the Grand Vitara. It has a very prominent grille. Of course, the next design for LEDs, and of course triple elements for the headlamps. So it looks very sharp, very nice and very muscular. And even though in terms of the height, the Fronx doesn't have the same kind of height that the Brezza has, it still has a lot of road presence. The side profile, both these cars come on 16-inch wheels, so that is something which both these cars have. Of course, the alloy wheel design is different, but the back end is one area again where the Fronx is definitely much more dynamic looking than the Brezza, definitely with that huge beam of light which connects both the tail lamps. That's the winning element on that car in terms of design. So I think in terms of design, this car isn't bad, but I would definitely think that the Fronx is half a step ahead, and that's why in the design element we'll give this one 8 out of 10, and we'll give the Fronx a 9 out of 10. Now let's jump inside and see what the big differences are when you compare it with the Suzuki Fronx. Well, I'm sure by now all of you are aware that Woodmore are the online expert when it comes to spare parts. And the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a large generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog. And the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. So check them out today. Check out the app. It's available both for iOS as well as Android devices. And also check out the website for the latest schemes as well as offers. Woodmore.com, the expert of online spare parts. Well, so if you sit inside the Brezza and you sit inside the Fronx, both these cars are very similar in terms of overall dashboard design, the layout. The gauges look very similar. Steering wheel, of course, is the same one. The 9-inch touchscreen again is the same, and power window buttons as well as the AC control buttons are all the same. So there's not much in terms of choosing. The big differences, of course, is the fact that you get a sunroof on the Brezza, which you don't get on the Fronx, and of course you also get a very different color over here. You get brown for the Brezza. In the Fronx, you get a very deep maroon shade, which is a big differentiator. Other than that, the design of the AC vents, center console, everything feels very familiar in both these cars. You get paddle shifters behind the steering wheel on both the cars. Even that one has it on the automatic version. Cruise control, automatic headlamps, HUD, traction control, multiple airbags is standard, and even the gauges are very similar in terms of the design. So that's also something where this car is not exactly the same, but very similar. Now, which car has the better seats? I think the Fronx, because it's a Nexa product, has slightly better cushioning. The cushioning is slightly better on the Fronx. Even the Brezza is very good, don't get me wrong. Even this car is very good in terms of comfort, overall support, and bolstering. Everything is very good on this car. But the Fronx just seems to have slightly better cushioning and better support in terms of the overall long distance journeys. I think you'll be a little more comfortable in that car. Of course, you sit up high in both the cars. This one is slightly higher, and you get a good view of the bonnet line as well. So really, it depends on what you want. If you want a sunroof, very badly, if your kids really are insisting on a sunroof, then the Brezza is the only choice. But of course, if you want a car which doesn't have a sunroof but has a slightly more posh interior, I think the design and the overall materials and just the layout of the Fronx just feels half a step ahead of the Brezza's cabin. This one is not bad, but that one just feels slightly posher. Let's see how good the back seat now of these cars is. Well, so if you're someone who always enjoys sitting in the back seat, you really enjoy the back seat experience, then definitely the Brezza is not the car for you. The Fronx has more space in the back and definitely has the better seats. The seats on the back seat of that car are much better. It's not to say that this car is bad. The seats in itself in isolation are quite good, even on the Brezza. Space also is decent. It's not the best, but it's quite okay. And of course, you get back pockets over here. You also get this little hook, AC vents, and a couple of charging points over here, just like you do in that car. Windows are also nice and large, and you also get this little armrest where you can keep a couple of beverages. But in total comparisons, the back seat of the Fronx offers you more space, more comfort, and definitely better padding and cushioning. So if you're someone who always enjoys the back seat, then the Fronx is the car for you. Now, we won't go in the boot. We won't show you the boot of both these cars because you know that the boot of the Brezza is slightly bigger. It's not a big jump, but definitely on paper, it's the bigger boot. So if you really are someone who has to calculate each and every liter, then this one is the car for you. The advantage, of course, of this car is that it has extra equipment like a sunroof, which that car doesn't get. But that said, the backseat experience, the overall posh appeal, and the overall interiors of the Fronx and the looks, of course, are a factor which will win a lot of favors in that car. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed watching this video, please give us a like. If you didn't like it, give us a dislike. And if you have seen it till the end, please subscribe to this channel and don't forget to check out budmo.com, your spare parts expert. It's bye for now, and thanks so much for watching this video.